All right, hey guys. So today I actually want to give you some of my thoughts about Gamescom, which I've been following quite closely this year. Now, normally I do not watch Gamescom through and through for certain reasons. And one of it is because of ads. The most of Gamescom is full of just advertisements after advertisements. And so what I do is I just skip through and wait until everything is done, and then I watch it on YouTube. And well, probably should have done that this time as well. But hey, I got carried away. I decided let's see what's up. Especially considering the pandemic is finally a little bit more under control, especially in United States and also a lot of other countries around the world who have excellent game developers. Like Russia, I think has sort of really good. Not only indie game developers, but just game developers in general, and a lot of other European countries as well has a lot of independent developers that actually come up with pretty impressive games. Small teams, not mega corporations, and some of them can come up with some pretty good games. Now, regardless of all of that, I want to point out a few things that Gamescom really needs to, I feel, work on. And the first and foremost thing is when I got into Gamescom, all I see is toxicity in chat. And this is because, as you know, the masses are not really educated enough or disciplined enough to know certain, how to behave in public as well as how to behave online, especially considering the fact that when you're online, you're in this bubble where you feel safe and you feel you can say whatever you want. And I mean, fine, you want to throw your thoughts out there. I get it, but they don't really have the means to be respectful. So what they do is they start to, create this sort of revolt, as I may call it, and they mostly speak up about things that they're not really happy about. And the thing is, like, the people who are handling Gamescom are aware of this. They know what people in chat are saying. So I feel that they need to control their crowd a little better by having some sort of interactive content. And one of the things I know YouTube can do is when they're live streaming or even in Twitch is that you can actually have polls, right? You can have people participate in polls and keep them busy and make them share their thoughts via polls, especially just so that they can say, you know what, I guess a lot of the crowd actually is looking forward to this game, or maybe they're not looking forward to this game. Looks like everyone only wants Battlefield and there's nothing else they care about, which is what was really happening most of the time. But anyway, and a lot of people also were really upset about a lot of female cast showing up in leading roles in some of these games. And quite frankly, I think that. I mean, I understand what people are saying. All of a sudden, you're seeing this huge number of female, front characters, like taking the main portion of the screen in a lot of the trailers that you watch. I mean, obviously, not in the Giants. I didn't see any female characters. Not in Sifu. Maybe not in Crossfire. In Halo, yes, there was this little girl who became some sort of a commander, and she was leading a bunch of men, and people are calling it feminist and whatever. And we also do see a lot of other characters, taking like lead roles. I mean, we all know that. For Horizon Zero Dawn as well, it wasn't a difference, right? This is mainly a female protagonist, but even in Midnight Suns, they had to put a female protagonist in the middle, and people were not really happy about it. In Saints Row, we saw a lot of female protagonists as well, and people of color. And I feel that all of these comments against these kind of decisions are really rude. First of all, is because you have not played the game. Like, I know we were all pretty upset when The Last of Us turned out to be about what's her name? The one that's not Ellie, right? The other girl. Hang on, let me get her name. Right, it was Abby. It was Abby, and people were not happy about Abby, and they were like, "Oh, it's an all-female cast game, and it's not, Abby looks we don't like the way she looks and the way she behaves and whatever." But honestly, look at it this way, right? As for those of you who actually liked the first game, if the second game was purely about Ellie's journey, right? Even if you never got to play as Joel, if you just got to play as Ellie, I think people would have still enjoyed it. But why is it that people didn't complain about that being thrown at us. Like if we knew that it was just Ellie, we would have been fine. But Abby, of course, we hate the character for a lot of other reasons, not because of who she is or whatever, but we hate the way she was represented to her and the way she was thrown at us, and us being forced to play, with her for hours and whatever. But the point is that gamers will like the narration. If the narrative actually pulls in, like a new character into the story, whether they may be a person of color, whether they may be a girl or whatever, because majority of gamers are guys, right? This is a known thing. Everyone knows statistically that more guys play video games than girls do, which is why some games actually give you the option to pick your gender. But when you see it in game, when you actually go in game and play as a girl, like for example, when I play as Lara Croft in Tomb Raider, or when I play as what's that the girl in Control, but basically she's also a female character, no gamer guy is gonna complain, right? No gamer guy is going to complain. Why? Because people are more focused on the story. People are more focused on what the character is delivering to you. Like sometimes it is just the story that's taking place, and you're looking at from their point of view. It's not like you're forced to choke on it, or that concept. But some of the trailers actually really pushed it out there with a lot of strong female cast, and I noticed that a lot of chat was unhappy about it. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we only get a trailer, we don't get to see any gameplay. And despite the way the trailer is representing the story, especially for something like Halo, it's pretty obvious. In the Halo trailer, you can actually see how all the other people are in suits and masks. We only see this girl coming in as the sort of a female cast, and then she turns out to be like their commander or something, training a bunch of guys, and there's no other girls. Like all of a sudden this one girl becomes the commander and takes over, like, to lead a bunch of guys. So I think that it's quite obvious that there's some sort of a propaganda there in terms of the way they want to put out certain advertising trailers, especially to show that they have inclusivity, if that's the right word, and also representation of certain minorities, and also certain like female characters and whatever. But hey, here's the thing, right? They have their like agenda, right? They have their thing, their boxes to check. They have people they have to represent. They have advertising companies they gotta please and whatever, so they're doing their trailers. That's fine. But chat, you guys gotta like keep your shit together. You gotta respect the fact that these people are still putting out games for you, and whether or not we like it, we won't know until we play. Which brings me to actually the most important point: scheduling. Like, the entirety of Gamescom never really gave us a real schedule of when certain games will be put out, which is why chat has been screaming for like Battlefield for 3 days before. I think almost nothing really turned out, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that there was no real schedule, and I have a feeling that they didn't want to put out a specific schedule because they were worried about, scheduling changes, adjustments to make, and the fact that they may have to justify it to certain viewers, or certain people may not stay around to watch the entire video because they only come to see one specific thing. And I understand that, like, you want to keep your crowd, you want to show that you have views consistently, but that's not how you should run Gamescom. And this is coming from a person who, I mean, I've quite frankly, I've I can't say I'm a professional in what do you call this, organizing events, but I have done it as part of my job as well, right? So I'm a professional in my job, which is not event management, but I've managed events as part of my job, right? And I listen to a lot of people who give feedback, and the reason I want to get as many ideas out as possible is because I know that what's the most important thing in any convention is your audience, and you got to keep your audience entertained, you got to keep them hooked. And it's not by not giving the schedule, it's not by like, oh, let's just not tell them anything so that we can keep the viewers going, so that we can run ads for 2 hours or 6 hours or whatever. Look at this is 6.5 hours, and let me tell you, there's at least 30% of ads in there, right? Another 30% is people just chit chatting, and only about another 30% is probably trailers, and most of it is repeat trailers, like trailers that have already been shown, trailers that are being re-shown for talk or whatever, and all of that. And aside from the scheduling issue, it brings me to my next point, which is the hosts. Now, Gamescom had a whole bunch of hosts, and some of them did great, some of them sound great, some of them they know their shit, but most of them don't, right? And chat was really upset about certain things, like certain people really didn't know what they were talking about, really didn't play certain games and whatever. And let me tell you, let me actually show you one of the Gamescom days where I felt like this one, day 3. I feel that this lady on the right here, I'm sorry, I don't really know her name, I couldn't catch it. But this lady on the right here, you know what? I'm gonna have to. Can I pause this? I don't want this to be shown. This thing is horrible. Like some of these, look at them. They're just summoning the battlefield. All right, let me just like, can I? Okay, you know what? I can do this, right? This will block off chat. Okay, great. All right. So anyway, this lady on the right actually was the only one who knew her shit and was willing to speak her mind up. And I don't know her name or whatever, but okay, just listen to this, guys. Listen to this.
Go jet skiing. You can kind of like hang glide
Yeah,
with
hang
an
glide.
umbrella for
Yeah.
whatever reason. So maybe that's got a bit of a Breath of the Wild vibe to it too.
Right.
Just a ton going on in this game.
Right. So they're just talking about like the similarities of this game to other games, right? Like, oh, you can hang glide in this game, so it looks like Breath of the Wild. Like, yeah, we know that. Okay, right. But listen to this.
Great vibe.
Listen to
I
this.
will say that based on the track record of Black Desert Online, I would be
Black
a little
Desert
worried
Online.
about grinding.
Yes.
Because that was a game that was known for being pay for convenience, where you would
Right.
be paying to be able to level yourself up.
Right. You see that? Look at that. That's actually like the things we want to hear. That's actually a point that people like the rest, like no one else, no other host throughout Gamescom that speak about the fact that certain game production companies may design certain games to have elements like pay for convenience, and especially like you said, the track record of Black Desert Online. So she knows her shit, right? And a lot of the time that like this guy is talking, right? This guy is talking for most of it. I think he's like the main host and the rest of them are co-hosts, but this guy says, I mean, no offense to him, right? But he never gives any points that are truly useful besides just pointing out what we can already see in certain trailers, right? And this person was the only one I felt that actually gave us some useful points. And I'm sorry, I can't really get a good frame of you. But regardless, whoever that person is, well, kudos to her. She was willing to speak up her mind, and she actually mentioned the things that some of us are concerned about. Like, okay, this game looks great. It looks really fun. But it is made by the developers of Black Desert Online, which means that there could be some sort of, pay to win elements. Actually, she may say pay for convenience, but we all know that it creates the gap between the free to play players and the pay to play players, and the gap can be massive, right? Like I've played games where, especially mobile games, where these kinds of gaps can be just monumental. There's no way a free to play player can catch up with a pay to play player, like over years, right? Like the pay to play player has to literally fall asleep for like an entire year for the free to play players to actually catch up for certain things, for certain games, right? For certain games. But anyway, this is another thing, the hosts. We need hosts that actually know their stuff. We need hosts that actually are willing to talk about the things that we want to know. Like, okay, who's the developer? Like, right, if this is the developer, what can we expect? Are you really excited about this game? Like, what's the thing that, you know, makes you say that it looks exciting, especially like this game, this particular one that we saw. What I like about this is we actually see a form of gameplay, right? The rest of these are like just trailers that don't really show any gameplay whatsoever. That's the other yeah, this one. What's this? What game is this? Project Haven or something? Yeah, there's so many games that just threw trailers at us with no gameplay whatsoever. And like, okay, you're just giving us like a trailer to just show us what exactly? Because we've all seen what trailers look like and what the actual game looks like, and we have all made that comparison. It's like McDonald's ad for a burger, and then you actually see the actual burger. It's totally different things, and most of these trailers in fact will actually put the warning to say that not actual gameplay footage. Like, dude, we get it, you just putting out a trailer to just reveal stuff, but hosts can't really talk about that. Hosts can't really talk about what they see, what they think about a game based on the trailer. So they can't say, oh, they can say, oh, it's a really good looking trailer. I guess the game's going to be good too. You can't say that, right? So they can only really talk about games like, for example, the one that looked like Breath of the Wild, forgot what's its name actually, or games that look like this, where you can clearly see the gameplay. And that Dragons game, that's a pretty neat looking, like Dragons gameplay game, which looked really awesome. But anyway, so yeah, things like that. So as for all these trailers, they should have just dropped all these trailers together, right? And people, like the host should only be talking about the gameplay that they see and what they've seen before, and probably what elements regarding the game that we actually know of, like especially Marvel's Midnight Suns dropped their trailer like I think close to 2 dozen times in the on the day that it came on, right? Like it was ads, Midnight Suns, and then a little bit of chit chat, some trailer, ads, Midnight Suns, and then rinse and repeat. It was so annoying. Like you guys have to control your ads, and you guys have to. I get it, they're paying you for marketing, but how much did they pay you guys? Like, wow, to take up 30% of whatever we are viewing. I think there needs to be some sort of a law against how much of ads you can put out in, essentially a Gamescom video, like, or any convention video, essentially. Like, we can't be physically there. I get it. So if you're physically there, like, guys, listen me, hear me out, right? If you were physically there at a convention, people can't throw ads at you for 30% of the time. They can't, because you can just turn your head and look at whatever else there is in the convention. Or you could chit chat with someone in the convention about their game specifically. Or you could be trying out some game in some game booth and whatever. But they're doing something online and they know that we don't have a choice. We can't turn away from what they're putting out unless we turn our attention to something else entirely. Meaning we are out of the convention. We are out of yeah, we are out of the convention essentially. And yeah, I mean, whatever. Okay, they keep throwing out this trailer, which makes absolutely no sense. There's no revolution. There's no revelation. Like someone, I think one of these guys, right? One of the main hosts, actually. Where's the main host? This guy? Yeah, I think the main host. Oops, sorry, and I got a frame of him. Yeah, this guy. The main host actually mentioned that the what do you call this? The developers of Midnight Suns actually being kind of shady or held back about what the game actually is. Like they don't know what the game actually is, and then he gives a guess. He says that it's most likely a turn-based strategy or something like that, or it could be a real-time like a MOBA sort of game where you can move around and play in some sort of an arena-based gameplay, or maybe even a zone-based gameplay or multiplayer or whatever like that. So he's giving his guesses, right? He's giving a guess because no one knows anything about the game from the trailer. They should straight up ban companies that are dropping trailers with no idea about what their game is for. And the reason is to protect not only the future of the game itself, but also the people working on the game. Like, there are actual people working on the game who know what the game is about, but they're not allowed to say anything because the corporations put a plaster on their mouth so that they can just release a cool trailer and keep people hyped about it. Put this on our ads for 30+% of a video, and no one knows what it's about. No one knows what this is about. Throughout Gamescom, they never mentioned. Maybe there's another article somewhere else outside Gamescom. I'm sorry, I keep saying Gamescom as Gamescon because I keep thinking it's like a convention. But whatever. Anyway, it's the same thing for me. So yeah, they really need to just ban trailers like this. Like Horizon Forbidden West, we can see gameplay. Excellent. Saints Row, we got to see a trailer. I don't think we saw any gameplay from this. What do you call this? The clip that was put out for us. Yeah, right. Nothing. But at least we know what Saints Row is about. But it seems like there's like some major changes, like the character changes, the representation of certain tech and gadgets and stuff like that looks totally unique. Like this is not something we've seen in Saints Row before this. So they gotta at least tell us what's the change, what's the deal with this trailer. And the hosts don't know. The hosts don't know. They are making guesses. The trailers don't tell anything. The developers are not there to actually explain about it. So there are a lot of things like that I felt that really needs to be just like they gotta get their shit together, like seriously, right? So yeah, chat interaction, the scheduling, like they gotta control chat. Seriously, chat is toxic, right? Battlefield, like you guys want to see what it looks like? Like, let me just scroll down here, right? And let me just play this up here.
This is the ultimate damage.
And yeah, okay, let me turn this off. Look at this guy's comment. Literally 90% of the stream was ads. He is 100% accurate. Let me tell you that. 99% IG. Okay, that's a bit too much, brother. But yeah, it's everyone was so upset and so pissed about this. And look at the comments even further, right? If I go to like live chat and not just top of chat, look at this King of Fighters, King of Fighters, King of Fighters. This summoning Battlefield trailers for like 3 days in a row, right? And like, what's their point? What are they trying to achieve by doing this? And the reason they're doing this is because the Gamescom itself has no schedule. They when they finally show their schedule, you know what it looks like? Let me show you. There's like some clips in between ads, like somewhere in an hour or something, where they actually put. You know what? Let's just actually go to the start. I think they have like a introduction or something where they there we go, something like this, right? Is it before this? Has to be before this, right? Come on. Wait, is it after this? Really? What's this thing? There we go. A little bit before. Hopefully. Wow, I can't get the frame of. There we go. Now, Game Scoop. Then Gamescom Studio. Later, Beyond. This is meaningless. This is absolute rubbish, right? This does not help chat, right? It does not help your audience at all. Look at the ratio of likes to dislikes. Let me tell you, 2.4K people disliked ads, right? The rest of them are just fans who came for the trailers and they thought the trailers were cool, so they left a like. But this Gamescom, this entire thing that happened was a mess, an absolute mess, a disaster if you ask me. Like, what did they do? The only thing they probably made is ad revenue. No one is happy as a result of this, right? And then the hosts, like as I said, the honesty of the hosts and the reviews that they give and the information that they give are just not good enough because they themselves don't know a lot of things. And I feel that they should not allow trailers that don't, like the developers that don't give you information on certain trailers, they just should not be there, right? Like Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 has been around like in the works for quite a while. Their developers are super friendly. They give a lot of information. The trailers are awesome. The gameplay footage is awesome. It really looks like a solid thing. And there's one particular one that I saw that looks really cute, really, really impressive. And it has really great atmospheric music. But we only got to see a short footage of the gameplay itself. Oaken, right? I saw Oaken. It looks really cool, really cute. Some great music and stuff. And I'm actually looking forward to this particular game. It looks like it'd be a really cool strategy game to play, really fun little turn-based game or whatever. But games like this just, drown beyond chat that's begging for Battlefield because they have no idea when Battlefield is, and they don't honestly give a damn about certain games like these. They don't, right? So you want to just make sure that people who are looking for these games are there at that time. So you can put like a schedule that says strategy games, right? And all the strategy games, you list the names down. And even if chat doesn't know what they are, they may wait to see it, or they may Google it up, and they may decide, you know what, that looks interesting. I'll hang around for that, or something like that. And especially for games that are first-time reveals, you gotta put them in first-time reveals category or something like that. And yeah, it's these things, man. And ads, my God, the ads. Look at this. This guy's face represents chat's pain when ads keep popping, right? This guy is chat whenever there's an ad. That's how painful the con was. Like, yeah, it was just horrible. All right, so anyway, those are my thoughts. I really feel that I had to get this out there because I sat through this like through and through, and honestly, it was bad. All right. The first reason, the number one reason it was bad is because of ads. And anyone who watched it will tell you that. All your audience will tell you that. Learn from your audience, listen to your audience. Second thing is you need to control your audience. You need to have interaction. You need to keep them busy. Give them a lucky draw, give them a giveaway, give them what do you call this? Polls, and ask them questions. Do you think that, the trailer actually is, like some ad for a mobile game, or is it actually an ad for the game itself? Do you think this is strategy? Let's just throw some guesses out there because the hosts don't know. Maybe chat knows. Maybe chat has some idea. Maybe they've been following the games developer or whatever, right? And aside from the polls and chat interaction, the hosts need to know their stuff. The hosts need to not allow trailers that they have no idea what it's about to even play, right? They got to tell these game companies, like, no, we can't talk about trailers that we don't know what it's about. You got to at least tell us what the game is about. So at least the main host or whoever they are can tell that, oh, Midnight Suns is going to be a mobile strategy or turn-based strategy, or it's going to be like an MMORPG, something like that. At least we'll have that information. We know what it's about. We know what's so different because we've seen so many Marvel games. Like recently, after Future Fight, they dropped what is this? Another fight? Wait, hang on. Let me just reach out to my phone and look for it. I saw it like recently in the Future Revolution, right? They dropped Future Revolution, so it's another mobile game. It's also another Marvel game. So we got to know what this is about. Like we have no idea. So things like that really need to be, like discussed earlier, and the hosts have to control the decisions made to some extent because it makes them look bad, right? Like for all all these decisions about what trailers got to drop and what the host got to talk about is all made by some supervisor who's never going to show himself on camera so that he doesn't have to take the blame. But the hosts actually are taking the heat of it. And they have no control over their crowd. They have no control over what's being displayed. They have no idea about the schedule itself. They're just following, talk. Okay, I'll talk about something. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'll just keep talking, I guess. And yeah, honesty is really important. Like if everyone were to be like what's her name? I really gotta find this host name. But yeah, this particular host really caught my attention because throughout the day three, especially, she was pretty vocal about certain things. She just straight up like said, you know what? Actually, I might play this game, and I think it's better than this game, and because it's made by this persons, and they got a good history and whatever. Like she knows her shit, right? She's not there for just like sitting around with us to watch ads. She actually knows her stuff. And yeah, pretty impressive, I have to say the least. As for the rest of the, hosts, they probably got to talk about the games that they have played before in the past, or the sequels that they're familiar with, or maybe even show us some actual gameplay, I guess. Like if some of the games actually had a trial run, instead of just giving us trailers for gameplays, they could get the host to try it out. Like maybe their tutorials, and chat might actually have more fun making fun of the host playing the game than actually making fun of them just doing nothing. I mean, it's just a little give and take, I guess. Not really much. All right, that's it for my rant. I'll see you guys in the next one. I just hope that these things actually improve. We don't want to be flooded by ads. We don't want chat to lose their minds because they have no idea what they're there for, what they're waiting for. And yeah, we need these things to just be slightly better. Now, once again, take this with an open mind and take this with a pinch of salt because this is coming from a person who has no professional experience whatsoever in organizing events. However, I have organized events as part of my work and whatever, as I've said. And yeah, if you ask me how big of an event, not as big as Gamescom, definitely no, not at all. Probably just big enough to host a company of like, I don't know, a few thousand or whatever. And yeah, I mean, we do our own things and all that, but we know one thing: you gotta respect the audience, right? And I think that no matter how small or big of a convention you host, I think that rings true. And if your audience is not satisfied because you're bombarding them with ads after ads, yeah, this is it. This frame is literally my impression. I'll see you guys. Take care.